Yeah, we have to time that a little bit different because it's a hard cut because it's the only way this works. But welcome everybody to the XoneBros. We're back. We're doing this remote for another week, but the man is back, Mr. McSpicy.
Yay!
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
For those of you that might not have listened to last week's show, Mr. McSpicy has had a baby. Well, his wife has, but you know.
I was there holding her hand.
Oh yeah, how was that experience?
Oh, that was the scariest thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. So,
well, and you feel so helpless. That's the that's the thing.
And not like David, where he delivers his own children. You know,
I know.
I pushed the doctor out of the way.
Yeah, I got this. Yeah, you back off. No, it was a long thing to deal with for sure. My wife is healthy, my baby is healthy, which is the most important thing. But man, that was some scary shiz, that's for sure. So they don't train you like they used to. I don't know. You don't expect what you.
They don't mess around. So here's the question. You actually sent us a picture of your setup where it looked like you had your gaming monitor and next to the crib.
Yeah, the little bassinet thing. Yeah,
how's that work?
It's so funny. You do. You do what you got to do. I had that set up in my living room. I had just like some crappy little chair stand thing with my Xbox and a random monitor that I found, and I just stuck it next to where the kid is, so I could actually. It's a bassinet, so my foot I can rock it with my left foot, and then I can play Xbox while I was doing, when I could fit it in. So it's really frustrating though. So I played some Overwatch last week because I was really feeling it, or last week and this week because whatever.
Sure.
Their servers are like having some crazy issues, and when I'm wanting to game, I want to game. My baby's asleep for like 20 minutes. I want to put in a round.
Yeah,
their stupid servers kept kicking me out, and then I was getting banned for 8 hours at a time. Makes it really, really frustrating. I was really mad at that. Yeah, as you can tell, because I'm talking about it on the show.
That is quite frustrating.
When I have 20 minutes and then you tell me I can't play, I'm really pissed.
Put me in the line.
Yeah, but no, it's really, really good. I got little mini McSpicy. I'm planning on having him be my support in the raid, Jordan, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
We'll get another support class. I want him to earn his...
fill up the team.
Yeah, I want him to earn the DPS slot, and so you got to start him out with
everybody wants to play DPS. You
got
to earn your way there.
So, but really, really exciting stuff. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I've never been so tired in my life.
Yeah, I know how you feel, and I am sorry for you.
Yeah.
Every dads all across the world listening right now are just nodding.
Yep.
Yeah,
raising their fist.
Yep. Yep.
That's funny. You want to know what I did? Speaking of kids, this last week is I have the mini Sega and the mini Nintendo, the mini NES, and I hooked them up in the kids' playroom. So I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I was like, here, play this, kids. Stop bothering me. And
that's a good dad.
Yeah. Anyways, so they started with Sonic. And it's awesome to watch. Like at first they can't do anything, and then I'll come back like an hour later, and they're on like level 3, just crushing it. Like how quickly those games. I feel like we had this advantage. I don't think kids nowadays actually have an advantage in gaming. With this respect, we had an advantage. Those games, they stand the test of time, like a Sonic, a Mario Brothers. You play them today, they're just as fun. And the reason is the format. It's like modern day. What was so genius about the smartphone is the swipe versions. Like if you've ever seen a baby play with it, it's intuitive. That's how those original games were. They're just intuitive that kids can pick them up. Meanwhile, I'll say, hey, come play Grounded with me, kids. Mm-hmm. They can watch, but they cannot play. It's too.
You don't just go left to right on that game.
Yeah, it's too much. But these old games, they play, they learn. It's really fascinating to watch. I think that is the pinnacle of gaming, when gaming is intuitive that a baby can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was and it was those games weren't play tested, David.
Yeah,
those were some very difficult games. It was baptism by fire.
Well, some of the menu choices. So in Sonic 2, It remember the games, if you didn't click A right away on like player 1 or player 2, it would do like a sample gameplay.
Yeah.
And when that just doesn't work in 2021, you're like, why the hell did this just pop up? What is going on? And it's because you didn't click it fast enough. And it doesn't take very long. It's like it gives you like 10 seconds. Yeah, probably less actually. It's probably like 7 seconds before it does the autoplay. And you're like, oh my goodness. It's really fun anyways. Really fun.
No, that's cool. Well, I think it also helps that like so you have a Sega. What else did you say you had?
The Sega Genesis Mini and then just the NES Mini.
The NES Mini.
Yeah.
They don't. I mean, they have what 30 games on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the problems that kids nowadays have to deal with is the fact that they have like unlimited access to so many games that with their short attention span, they'll be like, I can't get this. I'm going to move on to the next one. I can't get this. I'll move on to the next one. You only got 30 choices on those consoles.
Yeah, no, it's true. But here's another example too. So I've been playing, I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, I don't remember, but I've been playing the Mickey Mouse game from the 360. It's on Game Pass. No, it's not on Game Pass. It's just on Xbox. I bought it. I think it was like $9.
Yeah.
That exact game is on the Sega Genesis Mini, but just as a old school platformer. My kids can play that game, but they cannot play the 360 one. It's the same levels. It's the same levels and everything, just minus this like slightly 3D aspect.
You think it's the controller?
It's the classic platform.
Jordan, kids can't handle polygons. Okay, they can't.
Yeah,
too many polygons. It's like whoa, overload.
Yeah.
They just need the standard left to right movement with occasional jumping.
One of the things, and look at, but Boy Will says that's the time I started, 4 years old, and that's what I was thinking. Like, I was playing these games at about that age, and it works. Whereas with like the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 4, whatever, these modern games, I just don't think they're as intuitive.
Yeah,
I'm very passionate about it. Speaking of intuitiveness, let's talk Crossfire X or lack of intuitiveness. Now, Jordan has a lot of opinions on this. It did drop early, everybody. Crossfire X is here. Jordan, tell me, is it worthy of being the most played game series of all time?
Well, so I think when they talk about that, they're talking about like Crossfire, which is
they are. That's why I said series.
So Crossfire X, it's really interesting. I want this game to be good, and it's not terrible. So
it's not the craps, huh?
I would like, if I was a game developer, I would like use that as my, they like quote and they put it across the trailer. It's not
4 stars. It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. I want it to be good. It's not terrible. No, I really want this game to be good because I really enjoy Counter-Strike, and this is like a Counter-Strike style game. I mean, we have games like Warface Breakout, and then like Rogue Company is a similar to Counter-Strike, but they have their own kind of subgenre, right? This game I feel like is the game on console that is most like Counter-Strike, especially in its classic mode, right? No aim down sights. The map is even similar to Counter-Strike. It's Counter-Strike, which is cool, which is what I want. That being said, it's going to be a very niche game for a very specific audience, because I don't think like if you're into first person shooters, you're not necessarily going to like this style of game because it's Counter-Strike, and Counter-Strike is a very specific style of game. It's more about placement, movement, where your crosshair is, stuff like that. It's not a run and gun shooter, and it's not designed to be that way. So the problem I'm having is it's just right now it's just a lesser Counter-Strike, which is a shame, because I want this game to do well, because I want this style of game on the console. I think there's a few main issues. One is the progression of unlocking your weapons. They use an in-game system called GP. So GP is the currency that you earn after playing a match to then go unlock a weapon. I'm fine with this type of progression system. The problem is you get like anywhere between like 0 to 30 GP per match, depending on how well you do, and a gun costs 2,000.
Yeah.
So it's a huge grind just to get these guns. It's hard to do the challenges because the challenges give you extra GP, right? Extra currency, like 800, which is great. But all the challenges are gun related mostly. So, and if you don't have the gun, you can't do the challenge. So it's just
created the impossible loop.
Yeah, with the intention of probably having to spend money, right? So it's just I think that needs to be worked on. The other issue is there's only one map per game mode, which is kind of an odd choice. And then my biggest issue, my third issue, is the controls feel loose.
Loosey goosey.
Yeah, like that's the best way I could put it. Even after going in and dialing things in, which by the way, you have to dial them in a live match because there's no practice mode, which is unfortunate. Even after dialing in stick sensitivity and all this different stuff, it's just the controls just feel loose. They don't feel good on the controller. And another thing is it feels like they just developed this on the PC and then quickly ported it over to the Xbox. Because you use the bumpers, it's a typical menu, right? You use your bumpers to go left and right between all the menus and stuff. But then if you touch the joystick, a little mouse icon appears. Not like the Destiny circle mouse icon, like an actual mouse icon. And it moves around really slow, and it's kind of annoying because you want to use the joystick to move left and right. It's just
so it's like it's a crappy port.
Yeah, this is my opinion on the game right now. And keep in mind, it's not terrible, but I want this game to be good. It feels like we had the beta, a year, almost 2 years ago, and they haven't touched the game since then.
It was that long ago. Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
It feels like at the point when the beta came out, that's when they as the developers were ready to release this game, and they just waited 2 years for the campaigns to be ready. It doesn't feel like they've touched anything from the beta. It doesn't feel like they've changed anything. We all know they weren't working on maps because there's not any. It feels it's just
I can sense your frustration here. So what's interesting is this is what I typed into Google right now: reviews on CrossfireX, and here are the top three headlines that show up. The worst game of 2022, a CrossfireX review. CrossfireX, a game worse than Battlefield 2042. CrossfireX, do not buy.
See, well, that's funny because it's free to play. So those had I think
the campaign, right?
Well, the campaign. So that's another issue people are having. Supposedly, the first half of the campaign or the first section, because there's two different campaigns, like you play from each faction. Kind of like the old Command and Conquer games. So the first campaign is supposed to be on Game Pass, but for some reason, even if you're a Game Pass member, it's still charging you money. Xbox and Crossfire have acknowledged this, and they say they're working on a fix. So that's frustrating a lot of people too. But like I said, it's not a terrible game. It just, and this may sound stupid, but it's not a terrible game. It just feels like they made the minimum effort to put a game together and ship it out. At least multiplayer wise.
Normally, I would respect that.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to gaming, but that's kind of how I live my life. So
yeah, it to me, it feels like we had the open beta and they said, okay, that went great. I guess we'll just wait 2 years until Remedy's done with the campaign and then release it. It doesn't feel like they worked on it since the open beta, and that's just a shame. And the thing is it could be a fun game. It feels the most like Counter-Strike in its gameplay, especially in the classic mode. The modern mode, to be honest, the modern mode just feels like a generic shooter that every other game does better. So I don't think the modern mode is really gonna pull people in. I think the idea of this game is that classic mode, which is your Crossfire mode, or sorry, your Counter-Strike mode. But it feels like a lesser Counter-Strike with loose controls. And when you're playing that, you're like, well, why don't I just go play Counter-Strike? If you're looking for a Counter-Strike experience, right? And that's kind of what I did. It was like I played it all day yesterday, and then I played it more today, and it was just like, why don't I just go play Counter-Strike?
It is free to play, so perhaps their idea is let's get it out there and then improve it. However, if nothing's changed since the beta, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't feel like it has. I mean, maybe I'll give them this. I haven't really had any bugs or connection issues. Like, I think there was one small connection issue on the first night it came out, but they resolved that really quick. The problems I'm having is just locally. The challenges I do think need to be reworked a little bit with how you gain XP and how you gain GP and stuff like that. Make it a little bit less grindy. But mostly my complaint is just the overall the controls feel super loose, and it just feels like a lesser Counter-Strike. Which is a shame because I want a Counter-Strike style game on the console because I like Counter-Strike.
Spicy, if Crossfire was Counter-Strike on the console, where do you would it beat Halo multiplayer?
That one's hard because Halo is in its own kind of class of first-person shooter. There's nothing like Halo out there. There's things like Halo stands alone in the fact of how the shields work, how the maps are, how the guns are. It just Halo has a very, very unique feel. So I don't know if that's a question I can answer, basically. But I'm totally with Jordan. Console needs a good Counter-Strike style game. And what was the game before a year plus ago? What was the
Warface.
Yeah. And once again, that game, if it worked, would have been awesome. Like the style of that game is very, very cool. I think Call of Duty has something similar with its search and destroy, and I used to play search and destroy quite a bit. It's close to Counter-Strike, but it's still not.
It's like the game mode, but it doesn't have the feel because it's like a fast-paced Call of Duty, right?
Counter-Strike has it's very unique to Counter-Strike. I would say just like Halo is unique to Halo. So I don't know if I can answer that, David. I think if you're looking for like, look at Jordan. He wants that game style. He wants that genre. So he wants it to work where I don't know if some Halo players would want that. I mean, if you're playing Halo, you probably stick with Halo. Obviously you could play around, but really I think the market for this game or game type is those that like Counter-Strike but want to play it on a console.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think, and I think that's what's hurting it even more is the fact that I think you already have a smaller audience because, like I said, I don't think if you like first-person shooters, this game isn't necessarily for you. I mean, yeah, it's a first-person shooter, but it feels, I would say this game feels closer to Counter-Strike than even Warface Breakout did, because it basically is Counter-Strike. It's just so I don't think it would really pull away Halo's numbers or Call of Duty's numbers or Battlefield's numbers, just because I already feel like Counter-Strike style games are a unique audience. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. You have the success of Counter-Strike, and I know Valorant's doing really well as well too. But again, in the overall space of it, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a very unique game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So Jordan, do you think that this game is already kind of harder to hit their target audience because those that like Counter-Strike have Counter-Strike
and Valorant, and Valorant.
So right? and those are generally PC, keyboard and mouse players.
PC players.
And so, I mean, the niche that this game has is it's that on console. So are they already kind of just not late to the party, or just they're kind of swimming upstream? I don't know how to put it. But
I get what you're saying. I don't know if they're late to the party. I just think
because nothing's in console, right? But
I just think they needed to put forth more effort into the console version of this game. My biggest issue right now is the controls feel loose. I mean, terrible. When you tweak it, it's less terrible, but they just feel loose. They don't feel.
Is it like how Halo was on their beta? Is that what it's like?
No, that felt loose, but then we tightened it. You know what I mean?
Ratchet tighten there, loosen there. Yeah.
This feels loose, but we at least found a bolt, from playing with the settings. But it's weird. It feels weird. And it's all compounding and like a snowball effect, right? Because when one issue causes you to, get frustrated, you find more issues, right? So because the controls were frustrating, even though I tweaked them and played with them, then you think, geez, the controls are frustrating and there's only one map. Why is there only one map?
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
rough.
Yeah, there's multiple maps, but there's only one map per game mode. So it's like, and I get what they're doing. This map is specifically designed for team deathmatch. That's great. Why can't there at least be 2 or 3 of them? You know what I mean? This map is specifically designed for search and destroy, which is your plant the bomb Counter-Strike mode. Why can't there at least be 2 of them? You know what I mean? Just 2 or 3.
You put yourself in a position where, what if a player likes the game mode but doesn't like the map?
Yeah, exactly, right. And
I
think,
and even you can only play so much of one map before you're like done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even just 2 or 3, like, I mean,
Yeah,
it's interesting. Like, I understand. I told this to you earlier, David. There's a lot of people online saying that this game is very predatory with their microtransactions. I told David I don't necessarily know what that means, because you have the choice not to spend your money. So it's not like they're staring at you at the park.
Yeah, I guess predatory that they
I guess what they're going at is it's unfair, maybe, like that they're focusing all on these microtransactions but not the gameplay, which I guess I'll agree with that. But it's just I think that's why people are frustrated, because the controls are loose is the best way I can they're not good, because there's only one map, because the gameplay is not quite as good as Counter-Strike. They're saying, well, like, why is all this stuff is bad, yet the store is charging us a ton of money for that. You know what I mean? So I get why people are frustrated with the microtransaction side of it. I will say at least all the microtransactions are cosmetic, right? So it's not like game breaking to buy anything. And now whether you like those cosmetics or not, that's all subjective, but that's all I can say about it. The game is, I want the game to be good, and it's not terrible, but it just needs a lot. It needs more work. You know what I mean? It needs, and Crossfire has already come out with their PR stuff saying, hey, we have, updates planned for early March and stuff like this. And this is the first time only one other company has done this to me. And the other company, funny enough, is DICE. They're really making me think, like, what did you do? You know what I mean? Like, what did you do for the I didn't even think this way with Halo when Halo was delayed, right? I felt like, okay, we made progress. But with Counter-Strike, or sorry, not Counter-Strike, Crossfire, I feel like, what did you do since the beta? To me, it really feels like they just said, okay, the beta went all right. We'll make a few tweaks. We'll just wait for Remedy to finish the campaigns and then we'll release it. That's what it felt like. That's what it feels like.
Well, that's a shame.
It's like the I got this, Jordan. This game is like the Wendy's French fries. They're like 6th place, They're not the best, they're not the worst. They're like 6th place. And you want when you're eating that number 6 combo, and you take some fries, you want it to be good. You want it to hit the spot. And it's just bland, needs more salt. You don't know what's wrong with those fries, but they're just not at the top.
Well, and that's what it is. Like, I don't think it's, like you said, I don't think it's terrible. I just don't think it's ready. Or not ready, but just not there. See, and that's the thing. It's not like there's insane amount. It's not that I can say this game wasn't ready, because I've had from my experience, I've had no connection issues, very rare bugs, nothing that breaks anything. It's just like you said with the French fries. It's like
number 6.
Yeah, they just did what they had to do to meet the minimum bar and pushed it and sent it out,
Yeah, David, you're making me uncomfortable how Jordan's talking, but I'm really big.
I'll put myself really big.
There we go.
So, now, I haven't played any of the campaigns, so I can't speak to any of that. I'm waiting for that Game Pass issue to be fixed with the campaigns. But as for multiplayer, I truly, really want this game to be good, because I think out of the games that are on the console, like Warface and Rogue Company, I feel like it feels the most like Counter-Strike, but it just needs to step it up a few notches in a few categories and get there. Let's hope they do.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because I think it can be fun. But anyway.
Brad LeCompte in chat says he's disappointed in Crossfire, but he also says this. He says, Halo was fun and a great ride, but it fades really fast after about 50 hours. Made me appreciate Destiny. it is a game of great depths. And we saw this week there was a few news stories out about how Halo's numbers have begun to drop in multiplayer, stuff like that. There were other questions about, hey, if this is a game, a live service game, where's the content? How do you guys feel about that? Do you think Halo needs to have more regular content? Is it missing something here? The refresh, or are we just waiting for the end of the season? When does the season end? Not till May, right?
Like May, yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
we're a while out.
Yeah,
Well, I think yeah.
Go ahead.
I think personally, I think the season was too long. I think you have a lot of hardcore players that there's nothing for them to do anymore. I think that's a big part of it. Also, it would have, I don't know, I think a very specific game type that I will not mention that rhymes with Adel Moyal would have helped a lot as far as the sustainability, even though people may not have wanted that in a Halo franchise. I think that game could have done that very, very well and have created a lot longer lifespan for sure. And I'm not saying that the lifespan's gone by any means. I mean, I still play when I can to do the events and stuff, but really other games have the hook, the carrot on the stick, the progression that Halo doesn't have after a certain point. And so it becomes now there are other games that are wanting your attention, wanting you to do that. So they put that in there, and Halo doesn't have that for those that have already achieved what they've achieved for those players, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I think that makes total sense. Jordan, what do you think?
No, I agree with Mark. I don't think the game is hemorrhaging or dead or anything. I think it's just the natural. I think it's just the natural evolution of a game, right? I mean, look what you had. This week you had Lost Ark come out, which was a huge game. It kind of broke the internet this morning. So you got players jumping to new games, to different games. You had Dying Light last week. You had you had the new Rainbow Six Extraction. So I think players just jump around. I think that is a percentage of it, but I agree with Mark. I think them going with, and we've talked about this before, I think them going with the battle pass only progression was, there needs to be some other type of progression, just a number, you know what I mean? Something like that, just a level to rank up. I think they should use the Master Chief Collection tier progression. You went up levels, you went bronze, different, the different layers of bronze, silver, all the way up. And it was basically, like Call of Duty, except with a number, they gave you a symbol, you know what I mean? But it was cool. I hope they do that for season 2.
Well, they could have even done like a prestige system with those numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, what those systems are in place for is to take care of like the lulls when you have when people have finished stuff, they still have that number to feel like they're doing something with their character.
I think they should have put more armor in the game for people to grind for.
Yeah.
As well. Again, I think something that Call of Duty actually does well is like golden skins for their weapons. What is it like? It's a certain amount of headshots kill. You know what I mean? 100 headshots get you this skin for this weapon. 200 headshots get you this skin, and then make it 500 headshots get you like a crazy cool gold platinum skin. You know what I mean? Something like Call of Duty does. I think there needed to be more progression for that. I felt like they relied too heavily on the store and the battle pass. And I hope all that changes in season 2. I don't mind the store. It's fine. I just don't want that to be the only place for me to get gear.
Yeah.
Well,
B-Boy Will in chat says there needs to be more content, but I love the game, which I think is actually exactly what I think he summed up what I was trying to say too. I think the seasons are too long because the content runs out. And that's kind of the general feel that I feel is I love the game, but a 6-month season or whatever it was, I think it was around 6 months.
That's huge. Yeah,
that's a long season.
March, April, May. That is 6 months.
That's like a Tarkov season. That's like that's a long time.
No, I think 3-month seasons are right in that sweet spot. Then you get 4 seasons a year. Even if you have to delay within a week or a month, you still get 4 seasons. I think having the season be so long, which it's long because I think they delayed like Forge and campaign co-op and stuff like that, which were going to be like seasons 2 and 3. But it's just, I think they need to rework a few things.
So it's Stu91 actually wrote in and asked about this, and he said, "Do you think they need to do something before season 2 starts, or you just wait for season 2?"
I think you try your best to keep your players engaged. I mean, it depends how long is season 2 away, right? I think you try to keep your players engaged with the like the 10 Rye event, although I think that needs to be reworked as well. The one event they did was fine, where they just let us get all 10 things through those challenges.
A cyberpunk one, is that?
Yeah,
what you're
again, the challenges I do again believe need to be reworked on how they, I mean, I think stuff needs to be reworked, and I'm fine waiting for them to be reworked. So I think you just keep doing little events like that, and then season 2, you just you throw down huge content, new maps, new battle pass, new way of the battle pass working, right? I mean, even if the battle pass still only works through challenges, a new progression system that you can work towards while you're working on your battle pass,
Yeah, Super Shocker leaves a super chat. Thank you very much, Super Shocker. He says, I found the new Halo multiplayer to be too much like the other Halos, so I easily moved on after the launch. And just to compliment that, Beast wrote in and said, I don't remember feeling this way as early in Halo 5 multiplayer. I don't know if it's because Warzone is missing and that was the difference or not.
Well, Halo 5 had quite a bit of content that you could unlock. I know that they had their
Yeah,
it was
it was
like,
just unfortunately in those stupid card packs.
it was in the card packs, which but they had it was a lot. It was quite a bit at launch.
Hey, a card pack is not a loot box. It's a card pack.
Yeah. Well, Halo.
Shut up, David.
Hey, we don't like loot boxes. Let's make them card packs.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there was a lot of there. I mean, I feel like Halo 5 had a lot of content, and it had breakout. It had a lot of modes too.
That mode. Breakout mode was the mode where it's
so
death. That was fun.
Yeah, so that was the breakout mode. Now, at first they were lackluster on their modes, but it feels like they I will say this: it feels like Halo updated more frequently because we got more modes quicker than we did in Halo. You know what I mean? Because I remember Halo 5 was pretty. The playlist was kind of like, really? Where's all the other game modes? And then they slowly rolled them out. So I feel like Halo 5 updated more frequently.
But were there only 2 game modes on launch?
No, there was a little bit more. There was specific modes you can keep.
Okay,
so there was at least that,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I felt like I really do. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. This is a controversial statement. I think Halo could have done a battle royale better than anyone else. And that mode we wouldn't be having this conversation if that was in this game.
And rumors suggest that still might be a possibility.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be 3 players. Each player has 3 lives type of thing, but who knows?
Wait, what? What's
Just
the rumors?
Rumors is they're working on
royale is coming, yeah.
Oh, well, I just perked up a little bit.
Spicy has been out of it with baby stuff.
I'm telling you, man, it's tiring.
Let me ask you this, Spicy. Last week was the first time you were not on an episode. What was that like?
I know that was
weird. You did join us. I
had a 7-year streak of perfect attendance on this show.
You got the perfect attendance award.
So I had 4 hours of sleep from Sunday to Thursday of last week. Like, it was bad. And then we went home, from the hospital, and it wasn't going to happen, guys. I'm sorry. It wasn't going to happen. I couldn't do it. So it was, even right now, I'm surprised I'm even capable. I had some caffeine right before the show. So
nice. Welcome to my caffeine lifestyle here.
Yes.
I have some pre-workouts that you could have.
Thank you. I might need that. I just can't overdose on that pre-workout like Jordan did to me that one time.
You hallucinated.
Yeah, I totally did.
Like mushroom powder or something.
I know. In the middle of the night, I started having Stranger Things like
dreams,
Demogorgon coming from the ceiling at me. So never, if anyone's listening to the show, if Jordan hands you a drink, don't drink it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because I brought pre-workouts for us because we were all tired. And what I did was I put in just a pinch because you have to build up your tolerance. Anyone that has taken a pre-workout knows this. Yeah. Just a pinch. And I think Jordan mixed spices and put in a full scoop.
Oh my gosh.
Which even on the back of the thing, it's like, do not take a full scoop if you've never taken this before.
That was one of the most terrifying nights of my life. So thanks, Jordan. I appreciate that.
Let's talk real quick, and we've kind of beat this horse to death. So let's just briefly brush over it, though. Call of Duty. Microsoft has clarified some things on Call of Duty. Now, we are on record as saying you don't pay that much money to keep something like Call of Duty long term on multi-platforms. However, it does look like, well, a couple things happened. You got to put this story in context. The investigation by the government, they like who approve these giant deals by corporations. It got to is it the FTC or the FEC? The FEC, I think. Anyways, and the person who's over it is known to be like really against corporate deals, big corporation deals, and so they think it's going to be a tougher road. So after that news happens, Microsoft comes out and has said multiple times that it does indeed confirm to keep Call of Duty franchise on PlayStation, quote, beyond existing agreement. So the actual quote from Brad Smith, the vice chair and president of Microsoft, posted on the Microsoft website. He said, quote, "First, some commentators have asked whether we will continue to make popular content like Activision's Call of Duty available on competing platforms like Sony's PlayStation. The obvious concern is that Microsoft could make this title available exclusively on the Xbox console, undermining opportunities for Sony PlayStation users." I do have an issue with that statement. It doesn't undermine opportunities. The opportunity still exists. Go buy an Xbox. To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available on PlayStation through the term of any existing agreement. That's what was already said. We knew that. And we have committed to Sony. This is the difference. We've committed to Sony that we will also make them available on PlayStation beyond the existing agreement and into the future so that Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games they love. We are also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform.
Yeah, that part's exciting.
Yeah, we believe this is the right thing for the industry, for gamers, and for our business. Reactions to this. Let's start with Mr. McSpicy. Call of Duty is going to be on all platforms for forever. It's still good for Microsoft in the same vein that Minecraft is on all platforms for Microsoft. Correct or incorrect, McSpicy?
I don't buy it.
You think it's politics?
No. I feel like I'm. You ever see the movie Anchorman at the beginning when they're like, "You are on"? It's like, I don't believe you, and he keeps drinking his scotch. I'm probably completely wrong, and they said it, so that's fine. But I still think that in 5-10 years, the Call of Duty IP may lean towards the Xbox brand a lot more than you would think. That's so yeah, but
I see what you're saying. Jordan the Man, how about you?
I don't know. I wonder. I mean, look, if they keep it everywhere, they keep it everywhere, right? It's not. I mean, if more people get to play, right? I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but
yeah, they did it with Minecraft, so yeah.
I mean, they did it with Minecraft, but the difference between Minecraft and this is about $70 billion. So
well, I mean,
like it's
Minecraft at the time was a big deal because it was $1 billion for a single IP.
Yeah.
That was who's the guy that developed that? He bought. I remember reading a story which is really funny.
Didn't he buy a house? He outbid like Jay-Z and Beyonce or something like that.
Yes,
wasn't his name like Notch? Why don't I know
that? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, which is really funny that he outbid like all these celebrities and Melrose or whatever it was that he was, and they're like, who the hell is this guy? He made Minecraft. Yeah.
Now, I mean, like I said, I personally, I would assume they would spend that much money to not make it exclusive to Xbox, but make it exclusive to Game Pass. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess they keep it everywhere, but as an Xbox owner or a Game Pass member, I still think you're going to get all the benefits of it being there day one. I honestly think this year's Call of Duty, which we've now know that's been confirmed as Modern Warfare 2 and all that stuff.
Yep.
I'm calling it. I think because their relationship is, they're going into this, I think this year's Call of Duty will be Game Pass.
So get this though, like listen to the power of this statement. If they're on their marketing, and they're releasing the new game that's coming out in November, and they say on their commercials, they have their Call of Duty like epic, campaign trailer, and then they say free with Xbox Game Pass, like right at the end. Do you know how powerful that is to know that that game is going to be free and you're going to have to pay for it everywhere else. I feel like that's pretty obviously a very powerful marketing tool.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing: how valuable? PlayStation would know these numbers. Call of Duty is one of the top played games on its platform.
Yeah.
So their deals with timed content, timed exclusive content with Call of Duty, clearly worked for them. Why would that not work for Microsoft and just reverse it on Game Pass? Timed exclusive. We it's not exclusive, but this specific content is.
Yeah, I don't know if that would happen because I know it wasn't a while back. Phil Spencer said that he doesn't like doing those timed exclusive deals. But I guess it's not a deal when you own it. So,
hey, yeah,
Right.
you know what? Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
that's,
just
that's a good point though. He did say that. I remember that distinctly. Regardless,
yeah, I mean, maybe it's one of those things. Xbox Game Pass, you get a week early. You know how powerful that is. That early access stuff is pretty powerful, right?
Yeah. Well,
you get map packs early. You get Warzone, updates, or I don't know. So you can do something like that. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like they said, it sounds like they're gonna keep it on all platforms. I do think it's exciting that it'll make its way over to the Switch. That's really fun because everything's always fun on the Switch.
Well, especially multiplayer shooters because no one plays multiplayer shooters. So if you ever want to win in a game, go play battle royales there.
So, but no, it'll be interesting to see what they do. They're obviously gonna do something that benefits them and their product, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
it's anyways.
But also on the flip side, it could be just politics, and they need to get past that one dude.
I definitely think.
Yeah, they're just feeding the media with all this, we're gonna share it. We'll share it.
I definitely
shoot. We got Larry up at the FTC.
Also, have you guys seen so there's graphs going around of who owns what in the gaming industry, and even after this deal, Microsoft is still behind. Wait for it. Sony, in gaming industry. So all of this talk that Microsoft is destroying the gaming market, and it's not even close, guys. Like what are we discussing? What are we doing here? What are we doing with our lives?
Well, when you look at that chart, isn't Tencent 75% of that chart?
Oh yeah, Tencent,
and then everybody falls under that last 25%.
It's giant, and
yet no one complains about Tencent.
When we talk market share, we're talking market share here. Microsoft is still way behind. And so nobody talked about Sony destroying gaming because they dominated the market share this entire time, did they? No, it's been a healthy gaming.
Yeah, no, I think the reason is because it's headline, right? It's because it's $70 billion. You know what I mean?
It's big. Well, it's because it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Speaking similar to this, let's talk. There's a news story that came up that has two things. So I think World of Warcraft is coming to console. We've talked about it for a while. Then you'd have ESO, you'd have World of Warcraft. And here's a little bit with this story. This is where this kind of lays it out for us here. Wrong screen. Let's go like this.
It looked good though.
It doesn't look bad, huh?
Really
so
good.
Starfield, talking about Starfield, Phil Spencer has said he wants Starfield to be the most played game ever. Here's what he said. He said, I love the Forza 5 and Halo stats. I love how many people played Psychonauts 2 versus Psychonauts 1. So when I look at the teams, when Todd and I talk about Starfield, it's, quote, how do we make sure this is the most played Todd Howard game ever? Forza and Halo, the last releases, those are the most played games in those franchises because we made them available on more screens than we ever have, through more business models than we ever have made them available. He continued, he said, I want more people to be playing WoW in 5 years than they're playing today. I want more people to be playing Call of Duty in 5 years, more people playing Candy Crush in 5 years, because we've made it more accessible to more people. The only way that you do that with WoW, or not the only way, but one of the biggest ways you do that is by just what he said, offering it, making it available in more places, on more screens, with more options than ever before. So thoughts on this comments. Number one, does this mean that he has that much confidence in Starfield, that Starfield is just going to crush it? He knows where it's at. He knows that he's played it, or he's obviously tested it, and seen it. Or is he more just talking from a business model standpoint? Jordan, man, let's start with you.
I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for Starfield, right? I'm hoping it does well. This is the first new IP from Bethesda in quite a while. I dig their art whenever we see all their concept art and screenshots. I don't know. Maybe Phil Spencer, like you said, I guarantee he's played it and he sees where it's at in production. And I would look. He hasn't led me astray yet, so I think he sees something in the game that maybe a lot of people are going to like.
Yeah, Spicy, how about you? Starfield, you think it's legit or you think he's just talking biznatch?
Well, can it be both?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean,
yeah, I think it would. In order for it to be super successful, it would have to be both.
Yeah, because look at Halo and Forza, both incredibly well done games. That's why they're doing well.
Yeah, it's not just that they're available; it's that they're really good games that are available everywhere.
Well, I mean, that's kind of this falls into Microsoft's business plan. They're basically the PC. They want to be PC, they want to be console, and they have cloud. They basically want to be able to have people play their games everywhere, and this just falls in line with what that model is. Phil Spencer saying, "I want more people to play these games than ever before," and that falls into place with exactly what their model is. So, I mean, I hope Starfield is absolutely breathtaking, awesome, just like Jordan said. I think it has potential to be. I've said that about games before and have been let down, but I mean, you gotta love Todd Howard's awesome. So I don't know, you know, I always talk about the pedigree of these developers, you know. Like I was a bit, you know, Cyberpunk 2077, I would always talk about the pedigree. Man, they made Witcher, and then it kind of fell through. But the hope for me is, yes, I want this game to be so good that everyone plays it. I absolutely want that. And that's essentially what Phil Spencer is saying. He wants everyone to play this game in the entire universe.
Yeah, he said it about WoW. So does that mean we are getting WoW on console?
That's interesting about World of Warcraft. Look, I think WoW could be on console. I think I know there's some people saying that WoW could never be on console because of add-ons. I don't think that's I don't think that's true, because Final Fantasy doesn't have add-ons and it does just right on console. The reason it does well on console is because Final Fantasy says, okay, players want these add-ons, let's incorporate them into our game. So they give you a full HUD customization tool. They give you all these tools that let you, the player, play and design the game how you want rather than getting it from a third party.
Also, to add on top of that, PC players, I mean, I'm both. I'm a PC player and I'm a console player. PC players tend to be the ones that min-max their screens. You know, their macros, their all the add-ons. Console players tend to generally like to just turn on a game and play.
Yeah.
And so I think you don't, even though as a PC player, it would be nice to have all those add-ons too, Jordan, I don't think the audience that plays on console necessarily cares as much as, say, a PC player.
Yeah.
So I think those things are less important. I feel like people will still play games. Although I will say there are several add-ons in Warcraft that are definitely needed.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why
quest trackers and stuff like that. I think
which are all built in. So in classic mode they didn't have quest trackers, but in the retail game, all that stuff is built in game now, right? There's still, I mean, people still have like DPS meters, different HUD elements to make their HUD look different. But that's what I'm saying. I always use Final Fantasy as an example because it's kind of the most similar to World of Warcraft, and it's in the same boat. They're on console, and they themselves just give the players the tools within the game to do that themselves. You know, now, I mean, obviously you can't put every single add-on in the game because that's incredibly hard and difficult and in a lot of cases not needed, but no, I don't think that prevents it from being on console. I think, Mark, like you said, most players will just pick up the game and play it. And I think if you add settings for the console to allow players, even for the main game on PC, to allow players to customize the UI, to do different things, maybe even have your own built-in DPS meters, although I think DPS meters cause
problems,
more problems than not.
Yeah.
And that's not because people say, oh, that's just because you don't have the DPS. Hey, I'm on the top of the charts all the time. All right.
Learn to play, noob.
That's not the reason. Trust me, I got the screenshots to prove it. So I think they cause issues for another reason. But no, I think it can be done on the console. And I'm just gonna say this. I think look to Final Fantasy 14 and how they did it. for your inspiration or for your guidance. You don't have to do exactly what they did. I'm not saying copy them. Obviously, make it your own, but look to them at what they're doing, and you can bring that game to the console successfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Phil is going to answer the question ultimately, David. I think Phil Spencer wants World of Warcraft on the console, and he's going to do what he can to get it on there. I really do.
Just to jump in one more time, when Blizzard tries, they do well. Look at Diablo on the console. No, really. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. Look at Diablo on the console. It's a completely different UI, but it works for the console. It doesn't break the game or change the game. It just gives the console player a better experience because of where he's playing. And I think they can do the same thing with World of Warcraft.
When they try, that's so funny. Although even when they don't try, they do pretty good too. Yeah. Like Hearthstone, that's a game where they have like one dude working on it, and it still makes millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. Another game that can be on the console.
Yes,
and that one you don't have to try as hard because you literally,
yeah.
No. Anyway, but no, I would really like to see Warcraft come to the console. I think it would give more life into Warcraft, especially now after a lot of the bad press that they're having. I don't know when we'll get it or if it's worth Microsoft's investment to do it, but I think it would definitely be cool.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think you do that with all the Blizzard games. I think.
Do you think they bring back like all the old ones, like refresh the IPs? We get Rock and Roll Racing, we get Lost Vikings. You think they're gonna be pulling from that?
Well, yeah, remember they did that with like Blizzard Arcade, right? I wonder how popular that was.
Well, do you think they're gonna like refresh? Oh, like you know how we're getting like a new Perfect Dark. You know, they're making new.
I think with some of them, I don't know that you do that with. I mean, Lost Vikings, you don't need to refresh. It's a platformer. It would.
Well, I mean, look at Trine. Do you remember Trine? That's basically basically Lost Vikings.
That is Lost
Vikings.
And that
game is excellent. I mean, it came out like 7 years ago, but it is a really good version of the Lost Vikings. The three characters that have different abilities. Even though it is a platformer, it's still like a super cool puzzle game. Yeah. But I think you could bring those IPs, and I think they could do really well. You'd get the nostalgia people, and then the games. I mean, David, you talked about it at the beginning of the show, I believe, with platformers being timeless.
Timeless, yeah. Yeah, I do think you bring. Yeah, why not? You have the IPs. Why not just put it on Game Pass?
And Rock and Roll Racing, that isometric racing style game, we haven't seen much of those recently, but that's a timeless style game too.
Well, even the ones that we've had recently don't match the quality that those ones were for whatever reason. They just it just doesn't
because Blizzard tried.
Yeah, because Blizzard.
Yeah, that's what they tried.
Yeah. So I think one thing that everybody looks past on these Blizzard, Bethesda deals, the Activision deal, is everybody gets held up, stuck on the games that exist now, not realizing the potential. What you've got is a bunch of studios now to go make new IPs. I mean, we have that new Blizzard IP that everybody from Mike Ibarra to Phil Spencer to disgruntled employees suing Blizzard rave about the new IP and are super excited. I think that's actually why you go and get these big big companies.
Well, and King. So you get Candy Crush, which that'll pay for the next yacht or two.
Yeah. So mobile gaming is huge. Let's take some questions. Hayden Maley writes in and says, I want to hear your opinion on the Battlefield backlash. Petition for refunds and overall state of Battlefield 2024. Is it dead? Yeah. Great show, says Hayden. Hayden, thank you very much. Jordan the man, this is your question.
Yeah, so right this is you guys remember I said I usually don't feel this way about studios where I say, hey, what are you doing? But I felt that way with Crossfire. I don't necessarily feel that way with DICE. I don't mean this like in any bad way or anything, but I feel like DICE is disorganized. And I'm not going to say they don't know what they're doing because I think they do. I just think how they're doing it seems very disorganized. We had a lot of this stuff come in Battlefield 5, delays, weird patches that we then revert 2 months later, pushbacks of the battle or their version of the battle pass and stuff like that. with Battlefield 2042, I will say this, and I said this a little while ago, the game is better now than it was at launch. They fixed a lot of the bugs that were causing issues, but I think the real reason people are super mad is because we just got was it earlier this week or late last week? We just got the announcement from EA and stuff that they're going to push back all their content. They're pushing back all their patches. The one patch that people are waiting for is a rework of the score screen, right? They're pushing that back to summer. They're pushing back season 1. They're pushing back all this content. And I think that's why people are frustrated, because it's like, why it's just, to me, it's Battlefield 5 all over again. Why are we pushing stuff back? Why are we delaying things? I get if it's not ready, it's not ready, but that's where I get the vibe. Like, it almost feels like the studio's disorganized. They're not, maybe they're not, maybe it's other, different outside factors, but it just seems to happen too often, I also think, and I was one of these people. I thought 124 players would be awesome. Turns out it's not, or it turns out it's not that it's not awesome. It's just not as good as I thought it would be. But that being said, I think a lot of that has to deal with map design too. The maps are super wide open, which is, I guess, okay for like vehicle combat and snipers. But when you have to run across a huge open field on these giant maps, you're getting sniped and hit by vehicles all the time. It's hard to explain. It's almost like there's not a focus on infantry combat in some of these maps. And I think it's because they're so big, because they're trying to accommodate for that 124 players. Like I said, before the game, I was all for it. I think it would have been awesome, but I find myself, when I jump into the game, I'm playing those 64 player modes because they just feel better. I think a lot of it has to do with map design, to be honest with you, because
I think so
spaces,
too.
But
I think so too. I think if you introduce laning in those maps a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm a big fan of lesser is more. I've said this a lot on the show. I feel like when you have that many players, it almost feels like anything you do doesn't matter. And I don't like that feeling. It's just like, it just becomes like, okay, you could be the best player in the world and still make no difference with that many people. That said, I feel as though you're right, Jordan. And I think one of the solutions is to create lanes in the map. Not even the traditional way to do that is to have 3 lanes. Like Halo map design, a lot of those maps have 3 lanes.
Yeah, 3 lanes, right?
Yeah, and it works square. When you have 120 players, maybe you introduce even more lanes than that,
or just even like if you look at like Battlefield 3, it feels like well, I mean, I guess if you take like Operation Metro is fully infantry based, but there was maps where it felt like there was vehicle sections and then infantry sections, and they almost balanced each other out. It just
that game even had like the map with the subway. And
that's Operation Metro, so that's the underground.
Yeah,
and
and
that was all infantry combat,
Yeah, and you can just sit there with an M60 and just get 30 kills.
Yeah. I'm not saying take away the vehicles, because I think they're a huge part of what makes Battlefield, but it just, I think a lot of the issues probably come from the map design of the wide open areas. And we do know from the beta to the game, they actually increased the amount of vehicles there were. So there's even more now. So, which is probably, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but it just, I think on top of with all that I just said, on top of all this content being pushed back even further, with what players want, I understand the frustration of a lot of players. As for refunds, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I mean, if you're 1,000 hours into the game, you're probably not going to get one. You know what I mean? Like,
you already ate the cheeseburger.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to laugh.
You've already eaten the cheeseburger. You've already eaten the cheeseburger. You drove home. You're laying in bed hours later, and you're thinking to yourself, "I didn't enjoy that cheeseburger as much as I should have. I want a refund."
Yeah, I understand the frustration of wanting the refund, and I know there's that petition out there where, what is it, like 140,000 signatures or something. Like, I get that. I would just say, if you want a refund, go to the platform in which you bought it and see if they'll give you one. Depending on your hours, I don't think they will, but I mean, that's just, anyway, yeah, it's just, to me, because I like Battlefield, and there's a lot of fun to be had in 2042. There's just issues that come with it. So to me, it almost feels like DICE is just unorganized. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I want them to fix that issue, which is why I think maybe EA made a bunch of shifts with
I
how
think
they're doing Battlefield.
I think it's the shifts that make it feel that way. It feels like
maybe, yeah,
throwing stuff at a wall instead of this like well thought out sequence of events for releasing.
To be fair, I mean, having the pressure of creating a Battlefield game and having the pressure of creating a Battlefield game that's good, and on top of that, having a Battlefield game that people like, that the organizational skills needed to have that happen are beyond my pay grade, Jordan.
Yeah,
so,
and like I said, I don't mean it as an insult. I like DICE. I think they do good things. I think they've done good things in the past. It just feels like for the past little while, and I'm talking about Battlefield 5 as well, that they've just missed the mark on a lot of things. And my only reasoning would be just maybe, just that there's not, I don't know, disorganized, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in a position to say, but that's just how I feel. So
yeah, we did get a super chat from Super Shocker when just regarding McSpicy's less is more. It's like the song "More People, More Problems, More Money, More Problems."
It's more money, more problems.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that after now. That's a good.
Thank you for the super chat, Super Shocker.
Thank you, Super Shocker. That's why I talked about the map design, because I think 164 could work. I just don't think the current map design is good for it. Because of all these, and it's mostly just the wide open spaces. I mean, you run across the map, you're either getting sniped or hit by a tank, right? And you can say, Jordan, get good. You really don't got a choice. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I do say to you. Get good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're storming the beach and saving Private Ryan. It's all about luck at a certain point.
Yeah. So, and some maps are better than others, right? But it feels like they all kind of suffer from that issue. I don't know. When I play Battlefield 2042, I spend most of my time in Portal playing the older games, playing Bad Company 2, playing Battlefield 3 maps, just because it seems like they feel better,
Interesting. Very interesting. Great question, Hayden. Thank you very much for writing in. Let's take one more question, and then I actually want to talk to Jordan about Lost Ark. So Lost Ark's a big game that dropped, and Jordan
I think he broke Twitter today. Well, that's the rumors.
Yeah, Jordan's jumped in a big way. But before we get to that, let's take this last question. Let's take it from Psychotic. Psychotic says, "Hey, bro, Sibs, I just got my Series X. Congratulations, Psychotic." He says, "I'm so excited to be part of the Elite Gaming Consortium.
All right, cool.
My question is simple: Elite Controller 2 or an SSD drive next? Thank you for all you do. Congrats again to Mr. McSpicy and Mrs. McSpicy on their little McSpicy."
This is a really interesting question.
Does he have a Series X, is what he said?
Yeah, he's now in the Series X family.
I would go controller, because you already got the NVMe drive on the Series X. I would just play Tetris with your games and get the controller. And then next,
It's not bad advice. Spicy, agree, disagree? Path?
This is an interesting question, because I change my mind on this several times a day. I feel, because I burn through controllers. I don't know if it's my play style or what, or how powerful these hands are.
I mean, look at those hands. Those are powerful.
These are like, look at these muscles. Those are gaming muscles on those thumbs.
Those are
like
powerful,
look at those
powerful. Boom. Yeah, thumb muscles.
Thumb muscles. They don't joke around. I think I break my controllers more often than most people in their lives. I don't know if it's because I game too much, or I don't know what it is. But I've gone through a couple Elite controllers, and I don't like it when that one breaks. But when I go through a normal controller, I feel less bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's because you're like, I spent damn good money on this.
I know. But at the same time, with Jordan, what Jordan's saying and how I do it with the Series X, I put the games I don't play on an external hard drive that doesn't need that, you don't need those fast loading times. But for your 6 games that are in your circuit, your gaming cycle, I always have those on there, and you can transfer back and forth willy-nilly. So it only takes a couple minutes with the new drives, for the most part. So there's not as much as a need for the hard drives as you think. So
true. However, having that, we have the Elite controller and the Series X, and we've had it for over a year now. I'm ready to get the SSD drive.
Yeah. And see, this is why
it's time. I think it's time.
David, this is why it goes through my head back and forth every day. Because honestly, the Elite controller is a fantastic controller, and the paddles, when you get used to them, they become necessary. I think the greatest thing on those is the hair trigger things.
Oh, those are
You get used to those, and you have a hard time going back.
Well, you notice it really does. So I play Vigor a lot, obviously, and I see the difference when I don't have the hair trigger on.
Yeah,
it's a huge difference
for me. I can't hear. Whereas I can't live without the back paddles.
Yes,
I can't they're just.
Jordan's flexing right now because he just grabs his Elite controller right there.
So what's funny? So I have my Elite controller, which I found a guy locally because mine broke, and I opened it up to try to fix it, and then the very next day they told me that they extended the warranty, so that was kind of sucky. But
that's awesome. But, that's our Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, you guys remember that when they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're extending the warranty for like 3 months on the Elite controllers." I had already opened it like the day before to try and fix it because it was doing that drift stick issue. Anyway. So I actually found a guy that lives 45 minutes away from me. He fixes all sorts of stuff. So he fixed it for me. He gave me a really good deal on it. But during that process, I also have a backup controller back there that's wired, but it also has the back paddles. Like I really cannot play games without these back paddles.
Once you get used to them in a certain game in a certain way. So for instance, Halo, I have back paddles on. I couldn't play without back paddles now.
Well, see, and there's features with it. The quick profile change that you can the switch. So I'm a Southpaw player. Some games like Battlefield or other like third-person action games, when you have to get into vehicles and stuff, those games. This is very unique to me, but those games do not have Southpaw variations. Some of them for vehicles, for example, and being able to be on profile 1 with Southpaw enabled and then quickly switch to profile 2 right when I get into a vehicle is life-changing for me. You know, so but then again, we're getting to the age where we're all lazy and we and we want the hard drive space.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Fitzy in chat says, for me, I love the Series X controller. He says I don't really use the Elite because it got drift anyways. But he's right. The Series X controller, I actually had
that's the one I use now.
Yeah, I actually had it stuffed away in a drawer until the other day, and I brought it out and it's like, oh, why am I not using this controller? It's so good. It's a step up from the Xbox One controllers for sure.
100%. That's the one I'm using now because my Elite controller is drifting.
Yeah, it's a step up from Xbox One, but it's a step down from the Elite.
But even another feature that we haven't talked about with the Elite controllers is tightening and loosening your joysticks for different games. Another sweet feature that is hard to go back to other controllers, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and as you play with like the regular controllers, they loosen up. They get loose, you know? And
another feature, battery life, built-in battery.
Oh yeah, built-in battery. It's just I'll be honest. I used to be a fanboy. I mean, I kind of still am. I used to be a fanboy, and I used to defend like, oh no, yeah, batteries for quick access. You know what I mean? I used to try, but no, it's better to have internal batteries. I don't care if they only give you like a 2-foot cable.
Well, the Elite controller lasts so long too. I'm never running out.
Yeah,
that's how I feel like with my Pro controller on the Switch. It lasts forever.
Oh, I don't think I've charged it in a year.
Nintendo's Pro controller should also be standard. Freaking Nintendo.
No kidding. That is a must buy. If we're talking that console, that's a must buy.
Let's talk some super chats or take some super chats here. Duro, aka Ryan, says, "What's up, bros? Congrats to the McSpicy's.
All right,
little McSpicy and Xbox onesie.
Yeah,
ooh, yes,
we got some pretty cool onesies going on this little guy. Here's the problem with being a professional photographer. When you get something cute like that, you're burning through a lot of hard drive space with pictures. I'm telling you. And I've been taking a lot of cool. Half of it's like the cool clothes that this kid gets to wear. It's pretty fun. So yeah, I like it.
Yes. Amen. Thank you very much, Duro, aka Ryan, for writing in. Appreciate it. And Beast drops a super chat as well and says, besides shooters, when do you use the back paddles most? So for myself, if I could take this first, because on Halo and Vigor, I always had jump there. Now I make it jump on every game because it's just habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also racing. So Forza is.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, you
Racing
should-
games.
I
Yeah.
actually use it in ESO. So I have one paddle, and it's actually a profile that I can quickly switch to. In ESO, I have it jump because when you play like PvP and stuff, I like to kind of move and jump around, and I don't want to take my fingers off the joysticks, you know. And then I have the other ones for my map and my mount.
Map and mount, the
yeah.
2 M's, double M's.
I mean, they're technically the same button, but I mean, I have the other one for
M&M.
my map and my mount, so I don't have to, I don't know, so it's there. So,
Do you ever mount your map?
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
what that means, David. Is that like some weird like innuendo or?
No.
Everybody that's watching live here on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button for joining us. And if you like what we're putting down here, before we go though, Jordan the Man, Lost Ark.
That's
Tell
really
me
fun.
about it. How
It's
is
really
it?
fun.
Like it?
You guys got mad at me because I was actually playing it during our pre-show
Oh,
setup.
well, we're trying to set up the show, and you're like, huh? When you talk to somebody that's playing a game and they're focused on it,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, just put it over there, and then they don't remember that you talked to them. We're trying to set up the show, and that's what Jordan's doing. He's just playing that game.
No, it's a really good game. Funny enough, it's also by Smilegate. I think they're the publisher of it. I think Amazon's doing the publishing for the West.
And
but-
the reason that's notable is Smilegate also did Crossfire.
Also did published Crossfire. Yeah. So, but no, it's really fun. I'm having a blast with it. What's really cool about this game is it's free to play. So if you have a computer and you have Steam, you can play it. For those that don't like playing on the computer, the game has built-in controller support. So it's already there on the menu. You just plug in your controller and it just works.
So are you playing it with controller or mouse and keyboard?
I'm playing it with mouse and keyboard, but I rebound pretty much everything to make it feel comfortable for me. So I haven't actually tried it with the controller yet, but I've seen people play it with the controller. And from what I've heard, a lot of people that have played it with the controller, just like a couple of YouTubers that I follow, they actually prefer it over the mouse and keyboard. And I think it's just because of the genre. Like, for example, Diablo feels really good on the controller. You know what I mean? And for those that don't know, Lost Ark is it's basically a lot of people compare it to Diablo because that's what it looks like. It's actually very different. But it's a Diablo MMO.
So like, it's more of an MMO just in the Diablo camera style or what?
Correct. Yeah. The only thing that it and Diablo have in common are the camera and probably like the setting, fantasy, I guess. But yeah, it's different than Diablo. It's an MMO, which is really cool. But it's really fun. I'll be honest, it can be a little overwhelming because there's a lot of systems in the game. But for me, it's actually been fun to learn the systems and how they work and how you can do different upgrades to your characters. The dungeons are really fun with other players. I'm excited to get to more difficult content. But no, it's a really good game and it's free to play. As for the pay to win aspect, as of right now, I don't see it. I do see a couple things that are like pay for convenience, which.
And have you paid for that convenience?
No, well, I mean, I bought one of the founders packs, so I have a little bit of that convenience, right?
You're a bitch.
But like, for example, they have a monthly subscription thing that you can do. You can buy it. It's called the Aura or something like that. And you can buy it kind of like ESO. You can choose to buy it or not to buy it. One example is, I believe if you use the Aura, you have free fast travels. And if you don't use the fast travel, or if you don't have the Aura, your fast travel costs silver, depending on how far you're traveling. And silver is the in-game gold. As for the pay to win stuff, once I get to end game, you'll have more of an idea, because right now you're just leveling and going through the grind. There's really not much to buy other than cosmetics. Once you get to the end game, then we'll see how it becomes. But right now, it's really fun. If you want to try it out, just download it on Steam. It's a good game. My server is West Coast Ivinska, I think it's called.
West Coast Ivinska.
Yeah, because you pick by region.
That sounds California Russian. That's what that's
West Coast Ivinska. A really cool game.
sounds like a reality show in Russia.
Yeah. I know there was
Russian mob in Los Angeles.
I know there was a couple news articles. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but talking about this game coming to the console. Currently, there's no plans to. I think it can because the controller support is actually already in the game, so they don't even have to do any work there.
Why do you think Amazon 2 games now, or 2 big titles?
Yeah.
Why do you think those are both MMOs? Like, is it a strategic move? Like, why go 2 MMOs if you're gonna go to me, if you're gonna go, what's their One World? What is
New
their
World.
New World? New World's the first MMO. That seems like their big hardcore MMO. Now you've got this. It's just a different style MMO, but it's still an MMO. Do you think it's because MMOs lend themselves well to games as service?
I don't know.
Income.
I don't know. That's a good question. Why Amazon? I think they had other games in development that just didn't pan out. And just to be clear, Amazon did not develop this game. They're just taking care of the publishing rights and stuff for the West, right? So this is done by, I think it's called Tripod Studios and then Smilegate, of course. But anyway, but also, I don't. Yeah.
Also, what if Jeff Bezos is just a MMO?
He's just an MMO dude.
He likes MMOs and he likes rocket ships shaped like wieners. We know that.
Yeah. Only MMOs and penis rockets. The only thing.
Anything else, it's out. Yeah.
Get it out. Get it out of here.
No. Someone's like, hey, we got this great idea for a new game. It's going to change the world. This in the way Amazon changed the world. He's like, is it an MMO? Then shut the hell up.
Yeah, get out.
You're fired.
Get out of here now.
You're fired.
Get out. You can leave.
Maybe it's because it's appealing because they have the server strength with AWS, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess you would need the server strength with other games too.
Here's the thing, though. If Amazon, because I think we are going to see new game in the same way Xbox jumped in to the gaming space and had success with Halo, and that's why we have Xbox today. I think we're going to see. I think Netflix is serious about gaming. I think Apple may jump into the gaming space. They kind of are, in the mobile space with their Apple Arcade. Yeah. I think Amazon is jumping in there. However, when you look at Xbox and Phil Spencer, I think Phil Spencer is just thinking so far ahead. Hey, yes, let's put our games everywhere. They need to be everywhere. We've got the subscription service. If you're an Amazon, do you not want your game on Game Pass? Do you not want both of those games on Game Pass? Like,
I don't know. It depends on what Amazon's plans are. If they are planning to get, say, into the hardware space, which I don't think they are, but if they're planning, if this is just like a dip, they're dipping their feet in the pool a little bit. I don't know if you go in with your potential competitor. So I mean, I think right now we don't have enough data to determine whether or not you do that or not. Yeah. It depends on what Amazon's end game plans are.
If software makes money, and are they on the publishing side or do they want to be on the ecosystem side? I guess that's probably.
Yeah. And they do hardware. They do hardware. They have the Echo Dots. They have the Echo Cubes. All that stuff. So they have potential to create hardware. Same with Apple. Apple's a hardware, company as well, and software. So it just depends. I think we're obviously seeing Amazon dip their feet into the pool and see what catches. Hey, this is just an A/B test with their MMOs because they have two. They're doing an A/B test to see what
people prefer. Which will they pay more money for?
Yeah, that's totally what they're doing. It's very Amazon.
And it's not to say that they'll never come to console. Maybe just with an MMO. I mean, MMOs traditionally, like RTSs, do better on the PC, right? I mean, it's safe to say that they do. Maybe they work out all the kinks with New World and Lost Ark and then ship them over to the console later, right?
I don't know that Amazon will get into hardware because if you look, even Microsoft's strategy is to actually get away from hardware.
I actually think
direction. And so Amazon, the question I guess is how big is something like Amazon Prime compared to a Netflix, compared to a Game Pass, and then what are the benefits that you could tie up with those?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's I don't know if any of those companies are going to get into hardware, even Apple, because I think with hardware, I think there's the big three, and I think that's it.
Well, it's a tough nut to crack.
How difficult is it to? I mean, look, Sega almost did it, and then they didn't.
And then they didn't.
Which is unfortunate because I actually really like the Dreamcast. But
even with hardware, I don't know that we're going to have a need for hardware much longer.
With the power of
as soon as we get
internet speeds and then warehouse computing, essentially server mountains.
And imagine the time, because everything that costs a lot of money that only big companies can do eventually comes to the consumer, and the companies that get rich and who becomes a billionaire is the person that's able to take something that's only for the rich or only for these corporate companies and makes it available to everybody. So that kind of computing power, that's one system in your house that handles all of your games and all your movies and everything. I bet you eventually we get to a point where we all have those locally.
That's true, but I still feel like that's pretty far away on the timetable. I feel like cloud gaming only works for games that don't require instantaneous input.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's with,
So Telltale games.
well, no, I mean, you could play like strategy games. There's a whole bunch of games like there's Wargroove. There's a lot of games you could play that just don't require, but racing games, shooters, fighting games, basically games that make money right now, which is like a lot of competitive games. Those, I think you want those on your system, but I don't think cloud at this point in time. I think we're still a ways away from having those be playable.
What is your time frame, do you think? What's your estimation, Spicy? Because I think in the next 5 years.
Mark, before you answer
10 years.
Before you answer that question, guys, keep in mind that Judgment Day and Skynet was in 1997. So we're already well past that.
Well, has anybody been born that's named John Connor yet? Because that's when we really got to start to worry.
Yeah. Just say it. That was 1997. So we're well past that. It might be closer than you think.
I'm pretty sure Alexa is Skynet. I'm pretty sure that's the beginning of AI as we know it.
It's true. Alexa kind of annoys me.
You know what I actually did? I'm going to try
Don't
it
say
again.
that out loud, David. She's listening.
That's right.
Here.
So I think, and maybe I just haven't done it because I have both Siri, Apple's, and Amazon Alexa. I have them both. The only one I don't have is Google. But Siri makes you say, "Hey Siri," before going off. And having that first word, Alexa needs to do that. Like,
"Hey Alexa."
Yeah, just say, "Hey Alexa," or "Hey."
Can't you change it? I think you can change it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can. I just
I'm going to change mine to Alexios.
Alexios. But at least then, because then I have to say, like, I can say, "Oh, Siri's great." Remember when Siri did this, or you know what I mean? You can't do that with Alexa because you're like, son of.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny that happened this week? So my wife and I were talking about it because we have an Alexa like right in our kitchen.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like, does she take our information and stuff? This is a real story. I kid you not. Yeah, I kid you not. So you know how when you say Alexa, she lights up blue, letting you know that she's listening?
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey Alexa, do you take my information and sell it?" She lit up blue, didn't say a word. It was like when your kids are in trouble. And it was like, wait a minute, like what did she didn't say a word?
She does. Wait a minute. She does some things what I'm thinking sometimes because she'll randomly start playing Notorious B.I.G. just randomly, and I'm like, I wanted to hear that song. Thank you.
So maybe Alexa is Skynet.
I feel like so. I was at Best Buy the other day, and I'm looking at all these smart home devices because I'm doing stuff with my locks and cameras and stuff, and I'm looking at there's
what neighborhood do you live in?
I mean, I live 1 block away from you.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm fearful of. Jordan comes to my house, and so we have the side door that he comes through, and I lock it at night. And he gets
it's frustrating. I got to go through the garage.
Yeah,
you got to use the garage.
We call it the Jordan lock.
Yes, Jordan lock, exactly. No, but anyways, so Amazon with their Echo devices, it's like, guys, we're trying too hard. Now they now have, so they have Echo Studio, which is amazing, by the way. That speaker is amazing, but now they've combined the studio with the screen one. What is that? The show, the Echo Show.
Yeah.
So it sits on top of a studio device. It's not as big as a studio, but this big speaker, and then it swivels, and it's like, really, we need this? Like, it just seems very gimmicky. And so I think, and actually, you want to know what I end up using Alexa for the most? Hey, what's the temperature outside? And it just tells it to me. Like, that's
Alexa and Siri disagree quite often on the weather.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I like to see who's right. I'm going to say it. I'm going to be honest. Siri has been more right than Alexa when it comes to weather.
Do you know what's funny? I think everyone listeing to us their echoes are going crazy because we've said her name, Skynet's name, like 20 times in this episode.
Yeah, T-Buck says I get Charmin ads before I even sit down to poop.
Yeah.
She knows.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Echo is a lifesaver when it comes to timing things for heating, like breast milk and stuff, for my kid. Like it's a great device. It really is. It's just is
Think about what you're using it for. Like here they're trying to sell like, this is my point. They try to sell like, oh, it can do all of these crazy cool things and fully automate your life. But what most of us use it for is, hey, Alexa, can you set a timer for 10 minutes?
Don't say that, David.
Alexa,
okay, now I have a timer for 10 minutes.
Alexa, what's the temperature outside?
Stop!
You know, that's we use it for.
Okay, I'm turning mine off.
We use it as a convenience for what is not that inconvenient to do anyways.
No, but David, that's what is about being human and American, Haven't you seen Back to the Future 2? Like the Echo would bring Marty's kid fruit from the ceiling. Okay.
My favorite electronic device that I own to this day is my Kindle. Kindles they're amazing. I love it. Yeah, the battery life lasts months. It's waterproof. You can have thousands of books in your library and just bloop bloop bloop. It's fantastic. So,
yeah. Well, why were we talking about that? What was the question?
Alexa, subscribe to the XoneBros and give them a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
You're such.
There you go.
Make sure you don't have what is it, one click, or make sure you have 2-click shopping on when you have an Alexa.
Yeah, make sure you have 2-click.
Someone can just walk in and go, Alexa, order 100 ball.
Sorry, I had to stop him from saying that.
Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in this week. That does us, Mr. McSpicy. It's so glad to have you back.
Thank you.
You have this glow about you.
Oh,
yeah. You look different.
These wrinkles under my eyes are brand new. Like these are fresh wrinkles.
Well, Jordan and I were talking, and it's like, yeah, we know how it's everybody. It's like when you're at the airport and you see another person with kids, and then you just look at each other and just
saying, yeah.
Yeah, there's a mutual understanding, a gentleman's agreement, so to speak.
That like life is kind of hard right now.
Yeah. And if only Blizzard didn't ban me from Overwatch every 20 minutes, I'd feel happier.
Yeah, what the heck? Okay, Spicy, so what's on your gaming schedule this week before we get out of here?
I have no idea. I have been out of the game for 2 weeks straight, so I don't know. What should I play? Guys, what should I play?
It sounds like Lost Ark is
free to play.
See, that's on the PC.
Dying Light, I am enjoying Dying Light too.
Dying Light has been fun.
I need a game that I can play in my living room because I'll be watching the kid. I'm on duty tonight all night, so I need to
like a long HDMI cord to a monitor. I know you got like a 60-foot one.
Well, HDMI, I can convert it into Ethernet.
What's hooked up in your living room?
That's my Xbox. So if I'm playing we just went on like 30 minutes on how
it'll run on your laptop.
Oh, I do have a laptop.
Play Dying Light, man. I think you'd enjoy Dying Light too.
Dying Light? Oh yeah, Dying Light. Yeah, that came out. I heard you guys were talking about that last week.
And let me tell you, if you want a turn-based, I know you're really into Divinity at the moment, or were.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest 11, man, it is so good.
Ooh,
so good, and it's on Game Pass. It's becoming one of my favorite games.
Are you playing that right now?
Yeah, it's so good. What's nice about playing it is that shell shade, or cell shade, whatever. My kids love watching it, so I just play it with them, and I
think I started that one. Is that?
Yeah, I would go back. It's really that's the one that we previewed at our first E3.
I started that one. I think Jordan's already beat it, but I haven't
beat it. But...
I'm like 5 hours in. I might have to restart my gameplay and start in that dumb town again.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna play. The thing about it is I have a lot. When I'm stressed, it's hard to game. But sounds super counter.
No,
whatever.
That's how I feel. That's why last year I played the least amount of games that I've ever played.
But I need something while this little guy sleeps. So, okay, I'll be so Dying Light. I heard you guys talking on the show last week that maybe it's not as good as it could have been. Is that right? Or
I'm really enjoying the story of Dying Light 2. I
think the story's all right.
They do the feels pretty good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, is this a Wendy's fries thing, Jordan? Is it just like
no, it's better than that. I think it's a fun game. I'm really enjoying it. The story I think
In-N-Out fries. It's In-N-Out fries, so we're going up the.
I think the story's okay. I mean, David. I think David's further than me, so more stuff might happen. But no, I mean, it's a fun game.
Okay.
So I think I'm stuck on Lost. I mean, maybe I'll try and play some more Crossfire this week, but I think I'm playing Lost Ark until Elden Ring comes out in 15 days? 12 days, something like that.
I hope I can hit that game hard. I'm so excited.
The guy I work with is taking that day off.
Yeah, and what's funny is I have to go on a stupid family vacation.
He looked. He stopped and looked really quick.
Yeah, I have to go on a stupid family vacation that weekend.
All right, so this is one of the times I'm going to be ahead of you in the game.
Yeah. So I'll have like the first day to play it, and then I'm gone for 3 days, and then I'll come back on that fourth one and have to just hit it hard. But anyway,
it's okay. We'll have another Sekiro moment where I'll come over and guide you through boss fights and stuff. I really enjoyed that.
My family's all probably watching this podcast. Sorry, guys. I'm excited to hang out.
I actually think one of them wasn't here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live on YouTube. We're streaming this week, so we won't have a post show. We will have one back next week. Actually, speaking of that, next week's episode will be on Wednesday. I forgot to tell Jordan the Man and Mr. McSpicy because I will be out of town coming Thursday and Friday.
Also, while we're on that, the following week it'll be on Thursday because of that family vacation I was just talking about. Why don't we just knock that all out right now?
So there you go. So stay tuned for the future, everybody. Here we go. We will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us. Again, come subscribe to us on YouTube, rate, review us on Apple, and we'll see you later, everybody. Bye-bye now.